The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Samurai Productions.
Samurai Sentai Shinkenger.
Hey everybody! Welcome back to another episode of Tokucast Reviews.
We're so excited! We've been waiting for this one for quite some time.
I'm just gonna have this the entire time, deal with it.
We're also at the end of the decade for Super Sentai, so of course that'll be coming up next, episode 3.
After the in comparison.
Next decade in review.
Well, before the in comparison, actually. That'll come out this Wednesday.
That's right.
Recording this. But, we're doing
Samurai Sentai Shinkenger.
Apare! The excitement that we feel doing. Oh my god! After coming off of Go Wander, Kiba, and Girl Season 3.
Seriously.
And...
well, you had Ultraman G in there.
It's true. That was a good show. But 3 out of 4 ain't passing.
Samurai. Yes, it is.
3 out of 4 is passing.
You mean 3 out of 4 bad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you didn't...
1 out of 4 ain't passing. That's what I should say.
Yes! Marcus doesn't math, everybody.
I don't fraction well. But yeah!
Samurai Sentai Shinkenger.
Let's go ahead and start where we usually do.
The opening.
The opening.
Which is the only Sentai opening I've ever downloaded and put on my MP3 or iPod or whatever.
It's not my only one because Decorator exists. But
True.
It's a great opening.
Yeah, it was alright.
I love this opening.
It's so upbeat.
Usually because I marathon these, I watch about 20 episodes in a day because this show exists. But usually when I'm marathoning things, I'll skip the opening and the ending constantly.
You did not with this show.
I only did it about half of the time.
There you go.
I did pretty much every time after the first couple of times.
I freaking love
I like this opening.
Blasphemy.
I don't care.
The blasphemy you tell.
If it's blasphemy, it's blasphemy.
But yeah, I can see why.
I think this opening is okay, but after the first couple of times, it just got on my nerves and I kept skipping it.
I can understand that.
I get excited watching it. It's great. Let's go ahead and start off with the first episode, the Gallant appearance of the 5 Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to compare this to Samurai.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be the greatest thing ever.
Now, the enemies that we have this time are called the Gadoshu, who
It
are...
doesn't fall. That'd be awkward.
Yes.
Get that back. Continue.
If you didn't want it to fall, that's a good place to put it.
Yes.
Or in between your legs. Or on the table.
That works.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Gadoshu. They are
the bad guys.
The bad guys.
Who are part of the Sanzu River, which is basically full of water that is filled with the sorrow and the hatred and all the negative emotions.
It's flooded hell.
It's basically the pink slime from Ghostbusters 2.
That too.
Oh, God, that movie.
Let's not talk about that movie.
What it reminded me of.
But yeah.
I can see that.
And they come through cracks in the world. And we also end up having our little...
that I really liked.
The
Yeah.
idea
That
of
was the idea that demons come through the cracks.
which is, yeah, and the shadows and all that.
That was cool.
That is very cool.
And our foot soldiers are called the Nanashi Rinchu.
Manashi Rinchu.
I like their
And
design.
they look pretty cool.
It's very Lovecraftian.
There's a lot of designs of the monsters that I like in this show.
Yeah. I think the foot soldiers are great. They're very Lovecrafted because their heads are just faces.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mouth with open teeth. And that's so creepy.
And then you have one of the generals who's got the squid face.
Yeah.
He's got a Cthulhu thing going on.
Yeah.
He's...
And I do like how they have different classifications. You've got the sword ones, you've got the guys with the guns, and
which
you've got
come much later.
the whatever the fuck that is.
The big blasters. And they also end up having giant versions of them
Yeah.
as well.
Which you don't get a lot in Sentai.
Yeah, giant minions aren't something we see a lot of.
Yeah. We see them a lot. Well, no, you're right. I feel like Kyoryuji did it.
Kyoryuji did it, Gokaiger did it,
Yeah.
this did it. I can't think of too many others.
Simpsons did it. Sorry, I had to do it.
The Gadoshu are revived.
South Park reference.
And they are, getting back to the world. They end up coming through the crack and are trying to attack this kid. And we end up getting our first, ranger in this show, Takeru Shiba.
Who rides on a motherfucking horse.
That happens later.
Aww.
Takeru Shiba shows up with his lion.
That's not good.
Origami, and
Horse.
walks through them.
Yeah.
I love how this show gives
Like a badass.
a legitimate reason as to why the Red Ranger is as powerful as he is.
And
He's literally the samurai lord.
Yeah.
And he is the leader. Why he's the leader and everything. This
It's a bloodline thing.
exactly. It is plot.
It is. He is the 16th in a or 17th, whatever, in a
In the-
generation of samurai.
Yeah.
In the Kiba clan. Shiba. Sorry.
Kiba is fake.
Fucking you, Shiba.
But yeah, there's also his retainer called G. I love G. G is a great
Mentor
character.
G.
Mentor G.
And G, basically tells him that since they are back, and this is the, what the Shiba clan has to do, they have to get his retainers, who are the children of the previous one. Previous team.
Oh, we will.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the Sansa River, Dokuku, who Shimasuri Dokuku is like the big general. And
Can we talk about how he summons the retainers, or is that later?
that happens in just a little bit. We're talking about the actual enemies here.
Because there's some things I got to say about how he summons those retainers.
Sure. Dokuku. I love his look.
It's a good look.
It is a very good look.
He is threatening. This is something that we're going to
He's
talk
drunk
about.
all the time, so he's
always angry and his teeth are always clenched.
and he's always hungover.
At the same time, I did not mind him as a villain, if only because compared to something like the Ninja, he's always there. He's not just in a portal somewhere.
True.
He
is on the boat.
Yeah, he can't leave the Sanzu River because he's so powerful. The more powerful you are, the more water you actually need to...
Yeah, the Sanzu River, they make a point of this in the show. The water from the Sanzu River is required to sustain their bodies. And if they run out while they're in our world, then they dry up and they die.
Yeah.
And the more power that they use, the faster they dry up. And if you're as powerful as he is, you dry up pretty fucking fast.
Pretty much
Basically,
instantaneously.
immediately. And we also meet Dayu, who is also cool. I love her backstory. We'll talk about that more later.
Always playing her shamisen.
Yeah, always play her shamisen.
I love her look, too.
Her design's cool.
Her design is very good.
It is every monster design of the generals are amazing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Along with Cthulhu. Who is, that's what we're going to talk about more next time.
He's the advisor.
He's the advisor.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen where we can't really talk about him, at least not in terms of
Not
finishing.
We can talk about him, we just can't talk about the end of him.
Yeah, because it doesn't happen in this show, which is interesting. I like the fact that he actually did that. But we end up having the retainers called back. Takaru doesn't want to call them back.
Shitari of the Bones is his name.
Yeah. Takaru doesn't want to call them back because he feels like he can do this on his own. And he doesn't want to put anybody else in danger, which is basically his first character arc.
Mm-hmm.
Great one, by the way.
Yep.
But we end up meeting Ryunosuke, who is a kabuki actor. He's the serious one of the group. Mako, who is
one of the group.
That is true.
Mako, who is great. We love her. She's basically the big sister of the entire group.
Mm-hmm.
Pinku.
Tani Chiaki, who is basically the younger brother.
Bratty
Yeah.
child.
He is the brat. And Kotaha.
Who's the airhead?
Aori Kotoha.
Who's the airhead and substitute?
She's not the airhead, but she is the substitute because her sister
In
was
comparison to the rest of them, she qualifies.
sort of yes, sort of no. And we'll get to that in a little bit.
Fair
but
enough.
she was not supposed to be the,
Retainer.
retainer for Chicken Yellow's spot. It
But-
was supposed to be her older sister, but her older sister is sick. So she couldn't do it.
So she pulled a Mulan.
Yeah. And we also...
Minus the gender swap.
Yes. But
Yeah.
how are these retainers summoned, Marcus?
with an arrow, which makes sense.
These shots are so fucking amazing, Legolas would be jealous. Because I'm sorry, he literally just walks in the middle of the goddamn street with a note attached to a bow and arrow, fires the arrow, and then we pan over to a school. God knows how far away, and just bullshit.
They made it actually make a little bit more sense than Samurai.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is... Especially since they could have just sent one of the 8 bajillion serpents that they have.
Speaking of which, the Kuroko. We do have basically just a backup team here. With the Kuroko always... I love how they always end up
set up the
coming in.
banners and everything.
Set up the banners. They go out and actually clean everything after the fact. We learned about that.
They could have just sent them to send the fucking letters. They didn't have to goddamn shoot an arrow.
They did both in Mako's case.
True.
Because she got picked up by them.
But then it asks the question,
They
why
go to
bother
Sen-
with
they
the
go to-
arrow?
They go to Cinder and Pelican.
But they all end up meeting up first. The Takaruns are coming in on a horse. This is when he comes in
On a motherfucking horse.
And then we end up getting the scene.
And a horse summoned from Origami, no less.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is their power. They use Mojikata to basically draw symbols.
They have cell phones that unfold into little calligraphy brushes.
Shadowphone.
And whatever they write with that becomes real.
More or less. Yeah.
More or less.
I love them first transforming into this thing because it's right before Takaru's just like, if you don't want, you might die. And I don't want that to happen to you. And really, I don't want you here in the first place because of that.
Because you might die.
Yeah. But they all decide to go along with it. And I love the scene where, the first one with the banner in the background and they're all in the traditional clothing.
And the traditional music starts playing.
Yeah. With the drum.
Traditional is a big part of this show.
Yes,
No.
and this show was extremely Japanese. Extremely Japanese.
It makes you wonder why they would try to keep that in an American adaptation.
We'll talk about that later. Let's talk about these suits.
They're amazing.
They're some of the best. I
love
absolutely adore these suits.
It's the perfect way to make traditional Japanese attire in a spandex form. You have the cross pattern that you would get from a gi. You have the katana at the belt, always. It's part of the suit. The belt actually on the center. And the fact that it's just... Their color is essentially just from the waist up.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is black and white boots from the waist down. Which
White gloves.
And on the helmet, their character.
their symbol, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have red for fire, you got ice or water for blue, wood for green, heaven for pink, and earth for yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think my favorite out of these, just because the helmet's actually styled just so differently from everybody else's, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
I like pinks.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I honestly really like blues because it looks like the kanji. Is it kanji?
Yeah.
Is not like morphed or touched in any way. It's just put on the helmet, as opposed to everybody else, where something had to be widened or stretched to make it visible through a visor.
Yeah.
But it's the most traditional. But overall, I still love red suit because I'm biased. Fuck you.
I like everybody's suit in this show.
I like all the suits and I like all the weapons.
Yeah.
Oh yes, we get personal weapons again in the Sentai.
Yeah.
We have but not just
Well-
that. I like the base weapons too.
It has
The katanas are great. The katanas are
The
great.
katanas look cool.
The discs, the spinning discs, where it's reflected onto it, which is really cool. That
Yeah, and it
different
actually
abilities,
makes...
Yeah. It's actually like a kinetoscope.
Yeah.
which is really fucking cool. And they each summon their own personal weapon, which I always love. We got a giant sword for red because this is Soul Calibur. We've got a bow for blue.
Versus Nightmare.
Yeah, pretty much.
A spear for green.
Which you don't see a lot in Sentai.
You don't, but
Yeah.
Blue gets a bow.
The last
Blue
time we
gets
saw a spear was Bokinja.
Yeah, which was a shovel. Wasn't it?
It was a metal detector, wasn't it?
No, you're thinking of silver.
That was silver.
The spear was reds.
Oh, right.
It was also a grappling hook.
Right. It was, yeah. And then we have a fan for pink.
A war fan, which is cool.
And what was yellow's again?
Land slicer. It was basically just like a big throwing shuriken. I can't remember what the name of it was in reality, but it's cool. I like it. But they call it land slicer. It's just basically a 3-pronged thing that she can.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely like a shuriken or throwing star.
And we also get in there because they explicitly say it in this one because there's no external force making these monsters grow. They have 2 lives, one small, one big. And they end up having to summon their origami. Let's talk about those really quickly because they don't perform the Megazord in the first episode, which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. I also like to point out, I love how their mass kanji are all integrated into their weapons in some way.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
These are all very well thought out ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, the origami. Because, yeah, we're not going to make the Megazord the first time. Fuck you. This is not that type of Sentai.
The origami are very blocky, which makes sense.
Yeah.
We have problems with those later on, but, they're good for what they are.
I honestly like the origami. I think I thought it was a very good idea, and I love how they each become their own animal, that each then become the Megazord.
I like the idea of origami. I didn't really like how any of the mechs look in this show.
Yeah.
I like the first one, that's about it.
Yeah, the first one's okay, but everything else is just kind of...
A mess.
Yeah.
It's
I thought they were pretty bad, to be honest.
It's honestly the weaker part of the show, but the fact that that's the weaker part says something.
Yeah. It's just the mech, because you can sort of ignore that. Because you don't really have to watch all of them.
Well, when I have to keep watching it every single episode.
Episode 2, we finally do end up getting the mech, speaking of which, Shinken O.
Mm-hmm.
I like Shinken O.
I don't mind Shinken O.
Really the only one I like in this show.
Yeah, in terms of mechs, it is the only decent looking one.
Yeah.
In comparison to the rest of them, but I like Shinken O. I like how it's very, we're going to use this word a fucking lot, traditional Japanese armor looking with the katana. It's very, very good. And simplicity wins in this case.
Yeah. Now, the first couple episodes are really based around Chiaki. And him...
It's not this yet.
Much later. But it's basically just him having to learn that, one, there is a specific samurai way that you more or less have to follow. And his father didn't really teach him. We actually do end up getting to meet some of their parents later on, which is a great thing for the show.
Yeah.
But Chiaki just gets really focused on actually trying to beat Takeru, which he can't. Takeru's overpowered.
He's been training his whole fucking life. Non-stop, unlike the other guys who've been training on and off their entire life.
Unless you're Ryunosuke, who is...
Oh, he's also been training as Kabuki.
Yeah,
so
he does sort of both. But his father actually made sure that when the time came...
He was ready.
Yeah, and we do actually end up getting to see his father in the very first episode.
We do.
All of these do follow a line. There's a family line going down, and whoever's end up being next ends up being the one to take on the Shinkenger.
Yeah.
So we actually do end up getting to see Ryunosuke's father in the very first episode. And I just think it's so good that we actually end up getting to meet family.
Yeah, it's something that happens so rarely.
Usually somebody's dead. Or they end up trying to come in and make somebody marry somebody else.
They still did that at one point.
Sort of. They tried it, and then she was like, no.
And they're like, okay.
Alright. Now, there are other origami that the family does have. In episode 5, we get the Cubs Origami. It by itself looks okay.
By itself, I can...
Once it gets onto the mech...
It's ridiculous.
This show has a problem with armaments.
Still not a fan.
None of them look good. The Kabuto one is the first one that we get, and it's so bulky.
And it's... I'm sorry, that thing would fall forward with that horn.
Immediately, actually. It's so ugly.
Yep.
I hate this mech. It just does not look
This
good.
show is not perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. Basically, the imperfections come from the mech.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Episode 6. We're going to talk about this one. This is the one that released, this is the first focus episode on Kotaha. And I love her. This episode really, made her stand out for me because it's just, it really focuses on her insecurities. Because the monster this week, the people take damage when they're confronted with the truth.
Or is it a truth?
Or something that they end up thinking about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
An insecurity, I guess.
Yeah.
The truth hurts.
And yeah, that's the point of this monster. Yeah. Kotaha ends up being immune to this monster because the things that the monster ends up saying, she feels.
She's not... Everybody else is hurt because it's something they're repressing.
It's a secret.
It's a secret. It's something they're repressing, something they don't talk about, but she's an open book.
And she's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's the best part. He's like, haha, and she's like, slice!
The monster is saying, you're worthless. And usually at that point, somebody would just end up getting hurt flying away. She's just like, I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Because I know I'm worthless.
Yeah. These are the things that she feels.
And then we get our first, hint at a twist coming up later, which when he goes to Red, he goes, you're a liar.
Yeah.
And he goes flying. So it puts that thought in your head of what's he lying about.
This show is very good with setting up some stuff. I love that. I was actually just going to bring that up. Thank you for doing so.
You can't do all the talking.
It's true.
Nope.
Episodes...
As much as you love the sound of your own voice.
It's true. It's very melodic. Episode 7. This is the one where we end up getting the next origami. And...
Please tell me it's not the tiger.
No.
The marlin.
Yes.
Even worse. I'm sorry. How the fuck did he catch that?
I love the build-up to this episode because it's Ryunosuke who has to go and actually try to fish it out. It was left in the wild after
You've
the
been
previous
playing a lot of Okami fishing minigames.
Yeah. And he ends up meeting a man on the beach who was a previous Kuroko, but he had to leave after the previous Shinkengers were basically just defeated or killed in battle. He just didn't feel like he could do it anymore. But they end up actually catching the thing, and the guy ends up going back and becoming a Kuroko again because of Ryunosuke. He's just like, I feel like I can do it again with this generation.
I would like to point out that every new origami comes with its own disc that has its own... What is it called again? The discs. What is it called again?
Oh, kinetoscope?
Yeah, they come with their own kinetoscope, and I still think...
That's what the effect is called.
Yeah.
So when you see a picture moving like that.
I still think it's really cool.
They are very cool. However, what is not cool is this mech once he ends up getting this as a... Not that one. The Marlin as a thing.
As a disc.
Ugh. It is
ugly. It puts the sword on
its
head.
skin, or else it gets the hose again.
It puts the sword on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
I walked into that one.
You did.
Anyway, they put their katana on their head, and then do this fucking thing, which is
with your hair back and forth.
With your soul back and forth.
I have a German helmet.
It's one of those ugly mechs. But an episode...
Get used to that.
At the end of this episode, though, we actually end up getting to see a mysterious figure.
Bullshit. Sorry.
Basically...
I found a picture...
He's looking at the fishing picture.
Yeah.
Bullshit. There is willful suspension of disbelief, and there is bullshit. I am sorry I'm interrupting you.
Or rather, another
bullshit.
Gadoshu who is just in the human world with a red skull on his face. This is somebody we'll meet a little bit later.
Hugo Weaving.
Episode 8. I only mentioned this episode because this is the first one that Dio ends up coming out. Dio was a previous human, so she doesn't have to stay near the Sanzu River. She doesn't dry out.
She made a deal with the devil.
Literally, this is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But in this episode, this actually sets up the confrontation between her and Chicken Pink.
Mm-hmm.
I like how that ended up being more or less a subplot.
Yeah.
In this one. Because it gave Shinken Pink, something else to do.
She
actually does
gave the character something to do.
Except fail to cook.
That's like her main thing. But Shinken Pink actually ends up being... She does get quite a few focus episodes, just like everybody in the show. Everybody gets quite a few.
I still love how when she does cook, fuck kitchen knives, I'm gonna use my goddamn katana.
There's a squash going in this pot, but there's crab in there. There's a squash going in this pot. And then she burns it. And I'm just like, all right.
Allison, you need to save this woman. I know you're watching this.
Mm-hmm.
You should have.
What was the phrase? Couldn't cook a bowl of cereal?
She couldn't cook a bullet.
She was telling us what she was eating for dinner on our stream last night, and we were just like, oh god, can you cook for us?
Episode 9.
Chocolate lava cake.
She's a pro.
Episode 9, we end up getting the Tora Origami, who was apparently captured by an Ayakashi at some point in the past. And we also end up getting to meet this actual man. His name is Juzo.
One of the best characters in this goddamn show.
He was also the Snake Orphan Akin Fies.
Oh.
And he drew the constellations in Q Ranger.
Okay.
Like the actual art for them.
Oh.
I did not know that. That's how I read this. I was like,
that's very cool.
That's actually extremely cool.
That is cool, man.
But yeah, the Tora Origami, which is
the most ugliest motherfucker on the planet.
It's a wheel.
It's a goddamn wheel with drill legs.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And then they get control of it in episode 10. And that mech is once again ugly as sin.
He was also in the O's movie.
He was. He's in quite a few things, actually.
Rocker.
He shows up every once in a while.
But yeah, ugly as sin.
Ultraman X.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Ugly as sin.
Yeah, the Tora one is just horrendous.
Yeah, I know.
We're getting you.
I think they're all bad except for the first one, but I'll give it this. They're not as bad as Gallant.
Truth.
Sure, they're not talking.
It's not just that they're not talking, it's that they just don't look as bad. They look terrible, but not as bad.
Episode 10. This is the one where we get our next, actual combination mech with the Great Sky combination thing. That's really all we're just going to mention here.
It's a giant bird.
It is a bird. It was based on a picture of a bird.
Caw!
Thank you. But yeah, it's a thing that exists.
Albatross.
It's a thing that exists. Episode 11. This is the one that we were talking about previous. Where the monster of the week ends up coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 3-way fight between Juzo, the Monster of the Week, and Shinken Red. This show has some of the greatest fight choreography. And this is one of those episodes that really makes it stand out. Because this episode...
a word is spoken, nothing, and it's just 3 men in the sound of their swords.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
It's so
I also like to take a moment. Juzo's design is amazing.
His monster design is great.
His human design is great.
The
His human look is also really good.
Yeah.
You get this Veroni look from him. And when he goes in the monster form...
Veroni's not a real word.
But you know what? They know what I'm talking
Ronin.
about. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Ronin. Yeah, you get that look from him. And then when he goes into his monster form, you absolutely see somebody who's made a deal with the devil. And you're seeing the
that's
consequences.
legitimately what happened in this case. Juzo started out as just a regular human about 200 years ago, and then he kills his family, and he was dying from an illness, and he did not want to die that way. He wanted to die by somebody else's sword.
So he's given a cursed sword that will not let him die until he is bested in battle.
Can we talk about his sword for a second?
Uramasa.
It's great.
It's a cool looking sword.
I remember first, because this is the first time I'd ever watched Shinkenger. I was watching this show, I saw that sword for the first time, and I said, I know what I'm getting Matt for Christmas. Because I was like, that's the kind of thing he would really want. As you can see.
This is mine. Anybody who watches Nerd and I will know that's mine.
Episode 12. This is, I'm sort of going episode by episode in this one because it's just a great show. But this one is just things happen a lot. This episode, we end up getting Tinku Shinkenho, which looks horrendous.
Which one is that?
That was the one where it was just, hey, we're ugly as hell.
That's all of them.
That's all of them.
It's very true.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't look good. It's basically just the Kabuto, the Tora, and the Marlin on his back.
Yep.
It's just big and unwieldy, and you're just like, why is this a thing that is happening? Alright, let's see what the next episode... episode 14. Go ahead. This is the Foreign Samurai.
The Foreign Samurai, where we are introduced to Shinken Brown.
The first Sixth Ranger of Shinkenger. Shinken Brown. It's just a funny episode, honestly. It's just such a...
I skipped it. The second time around.
Yeah. It's just such a random thing to happen, but at the end, you realize that they're... I just like it because, one, it's so little we actually see a white person in this show, or in Sentai in general. So it's nice to see it every now and then. And the fact that he's trying so hard to be a Shinkenger, even though he knows he's gonna suck. And then he willingly chooses the color brown.
Yeah, that was a poor choice.
I just think it's funny.
Choices.
I like the episode.
Yeah,
That
is his name, so...
I just like the episode. It was a nice just kind of moment to just... A lot's happened. Take a breath for a second, laugh, and then we move back on to the seriousness.
Yep. Episode 17.
Shinken Brown!
We can skip over a little bit. This is the one where we get introduced to possibly my favorite character in this show. Gento Umamori.
Or as I like to call him, one of the most annoying characters in the history of the
I
world.
think he's so funny.
I hate this.
If
guy
only
so
because
much.
he's with everybody else.
I hate him.
I think he's great. I love Gento. But he is also Shinken Gold, the first of his line.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that suit.
That is a nice suit.
It is a good suit.
It's really the first one
I
that
just
gives
wish
us...
somebody better was wearing it.
Well, no. This isn't really... Well, yeah. This is the first one that gives us this color scheme.
Yeah.
Gold and dark blue.
Golden blue.
And I like how he has a short sword that he wields in a reverse grip.
Yes.
So he's
He fights completely differently.
Yeah.
And he uses a cell phone because he can't really use Mojikara the traditional way, so he does it through electronics.
Which he made himself.
Yeah.
And Mentor G didn't steal it.
Well, Mentor G isn't Samurai.
Well, more or less.
Moving on.
But
That's what the character's name is. In this one, it's Hikoma.
Yeah. In this one, he gets the Ika Origami, the squid origami, which he
Made?
No,
it was wrong when they were kids.
Takaru gave it to him when they were kids.
He
when
made the
left.
lobster
Because
one.
he and Red are childhood friends.
Yes.
Yeah, he is childhood friend of Shinken Red.
Genshin basically does everything himself. And that's something I love him for. And the next episode, it was Hikoma and Takaru said, I'm going to take this away from you. Takaru's mostly just worried because he doesn't want anybody else, like the Shinkengers that he's already fought with, to get injured. And I love Genta. Like, Genta has two extremes. He is super serious and very goofy. And I love it.
And all of them, he learned his facial expressions from great teacher Rizuka.
God, I love his facial expressions. It just makes me laugh. I love Genta. Genta is hilarious to me. But in episode... he ends up getting it back, and then in episode 20, we end up getting the Ebi Origami. The lobster.
Which he made.
Yeah, he made this one. And it's mech.
Could be worse.
Yep.
It also has a thing that spins, and the face changes, north, south, east, and west, and each one has a different attack style, which is cool. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the mech itself. It's very, very bulky.
It's very wide, yeah.
And that's mostly because of the claws.
But again, it's not it's not the worst looking mech in the show.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. It's part of it, though.
Ugh.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Episode 21, we end up meeting Chiaki's father.
Wahoo.
And, I actually like this one because, one, this episode starts off with the Kuroko with the camera on the ground. And two, this is really our first time that we get to spend time with one of the previous Shinkengers. He did not train Chiaki like he should have.
Mm-hmm.
And you really see, because he's very easygoing, but he's still, the previous Shinkenger, so he knows how to fight. He just did not want that life for his son.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fair.
Yeah. But yeah, this is also in between the episodes that we've already talked about in our Decade review, because this happens right in between that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Decade Chisholm.
Go and watch our Decade review. You should do that. And watch these particular episodes to see, because most of it takes place there.
Mm-hmm.
To see what we really thought about them. It's a good couple episodes. First time to be getting that crossover.
True.
Yeah, I think is just great. Everything about those two episodes is just interesting to watch.
What's next?
Oh, episode 23. This is where we end up getting more or less introduced to the Enromaru, which is the super portion of this.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically just gives whoever is wearing it a white coat and just a general power-up. But on the disc that is made inside of it, it gives the ability to basically just summon all the origami.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part is that it can be used by anybody.
Yeah.
It can be used by all of them.
Not just red.
And it also looks good on all
of them. Unlike Tokucast.
There's a reason this was on our best power-ups.
I mean, it could also be used by
what?
Pink and yellow.
Yep.
They didn't get to use it by themselves.
And they don't all look good wearing it.
Yeah. We're not really going to talk as much about the movie here, mostly because of the fact that I didn't watch it again this time. But this is the one where they get the Kyoryu Origami, which gives him an extendo sword of doom.
Was it a shark?
It's a dinosaur. It's a shark and samurai, which, to be fair, makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. I like that sword, but I love melee weapons that can also be used at range because awesome.
Yeah. In episode 25, this is a Mako-centered episode, but it also ends up having to do more with Dayo because we're going to get to see her backstory where she was in love with this guy, but this guy was getting married to another woman.
So she killed her.
She killed everybody.
Yeah.
And the guy ends up being...
She went full red wedding on everybody.
She really did. And the guy ends up being turned into her shamisen.
Yep.
Which is very interesting.
Yep.
I think that's one of the most interesting things that this
One
show
of the reasons
is.
she's always playing it, and it always sounds so sad.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just hurts. Maybe it just hurts him when it's played, and she doesn't realize it. Conspiracy theories.
Episode 26. This is the first showdown between Shinken Red and Juzo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This episode is amazing because of their fight. It's so good. There's very little music. There's no rock-heavy music playing over the background.
There's no talking.
There's no talking.
But their fight is extremely well choreographed. I love how Red is beating Juzo by getting stabbed in the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
dropping his sword, running through the stab, by the way, just still stabbed, and just slashes Juzo in half. Their fight is pretty damn brutal.
Still stabbed.
Yeah. And then Juzo falls off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Never to be seen again in
Until
this
then-
episode.
We see him again in a little bit, but we also end up getting introduced to Akumaru Sujigarano.
You good?
More or less.
Mm-hmm.
Different Akumaru than the one from Director.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this is basically the next journal that we end up getting introduced to in this one.
He a creepy motherfucker.
He is, and he's very evil.
Yes.
But I love the fact that he comes in.
You mentioned grinning teeth or clenching teeth. I think he wins. Constant.
He comes in
Well,
and
the other
is-
guy is too.
Yeah, he comes in and is subservient to Dokuku.
Yep.
And to prove this, Dokuku basically just slashes him on the shoulder.
On the shoulder.
And now Akamaru basically ends up beating the Shinkengers for the next little bit. Do everything. This is also the episode where Genta gets turned into sushi. And almost gets eaten by a cat.
Delicious.
Stupid.
So tasty.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the one where we end up getting introduced to Akamaru.
Stupid.
And in episode 28, we end up getting introduced to the Lantern,
Also stupid.
Dogoku.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. You know, it doesn't take anything away from the show.
The show didn't need an alpha. It doesn't take away, but it doesn't add anything either.
This is mostly because Genta couldn't fight, so he had to figure out some way to, make a substitute. And
He couldn't fight because...
his morpher is sushi shaped, and he was turned into sushi, so he has PTSD about almost being eaten by a cat.
Stupid!
I'm with Matt on this one.
I'm sorry, even the first time I watched the show, that was stupid. The second time was just worse. It's just stupid.
I think it's funny.
I think it's stupid. It's humorous, yes, but it's stupid.
I thought it was humorous. The next major episode that we end up getting to...
Stupid!
Matt, tell us how you really feel.
I did.
Okay.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm done.
I think you might have been lying.
I'm tired. I'm done.
There was also another combination that we didn't talk about, but who cares? This show.
Who cares?
Shin Samurai Gatai Dai Kai Shinkenger.
I'm so glad they learned to not make their names so fucking complicated anymore.
Oh, wait.
It's just the gold one with green and blue as his legs.
No, it's everybody together.
Yep. Shinzen Samurai Gatai Kyoryu Samurai Ha'o.
That comes later.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
In episode 32, we are given the Mushi Origami, which ends up running rampant through this episode and the next one.
Uh-huh.
And by this point, Akamaru has more or less... Taiyu has left because the shamisen has been...
The strings are broken.
Yeah, the strings, and it's just burnt
Mm-hmm.
in some cases.
It was damaged.
Yeah. And Akamaru has basically promised that he'll restore that. And Urumasa has been broken because he got... I'm getting confused with the samurai name. Juzo.
Yeah.
Back. And promised that he'll fix Urumasa.
He'll fix his sword.
So basically, Akamaru is keeping this secret from Dokuku and Cthulhu. I'm going to call him that because that is a very easily recognizable name.
Yes.
But
I know exactly who the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah. Episode
He's the
32.
only one who looks like a squid, so...
Episode 32 and 33, we end up getting introduced to the Mushi Origami, which is a bull.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has its own mech form.
Yep.
Which I like.
Ish.
Samurai Giant Mogyu Dai-O.
At least they finally introduced a goddamn gun into this show. Like, I know it's all traditional and whatnot, but I'm sorry, when the bad guys have guns and you really
That
don't...
doesn't happen until later. But yeah, I like this mech.
I hate him.
Mogyu
Just gonna have to. Just gonna have to.
Dai-O. So sharp.
Yeah.
Mogyu Dai-O.
So sharp you can cut snow.
I like the look of this
I
mech.
can stab paper.
The
It's got a point.
As long as it's not a phone.
helmet is also very good. It does have Gatling guns.
And it gets a new weapon to the Shinkengers.
That happens in a few episodes.
I don't give a shit.
But yeah,
I'm trying to hurry along.
the Great Bull King. It's not gonna happen. That was a gnat. Gnats are very annoying.
But yet you're still here.
Episode 35.
The 11 origami, the complete combination.
Yeah.
Hope you're ready for your eyes to bleed.
Because now we have all of them.
Yep. It doesn't look good.
Nope, it does not.
Did anybody think it would?
No.
Like, what is this?
It is all the mechs together.
There's a face in there somewhere. Didn't this make it on our worst,
It was on one of the worst lists.
on the worst mech list?
Yep.
Zen Samurai Gata, yeah. It's damn awful.
It's awful.
It's damn bad, actually. I do not like this mech.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how in Go On we made that mech that was just every single mech put together? Let's do that again, because that was fucking fantastic.
I think this one might be slightly better. By like
the most...
the width of a hair, I think it's better.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. We'll talk about this one and then we'll go back. Episode 38, this is the one where he gets the gun for the Mushi Origami. And we also begin to see that G has a family that he doesn't go see out of fear of putting them in danger. It's a good couple episodes. Let's go back. The team up between Go Onger and Shinkenger. There was one legitimate moment where Go Onger made me almost die laughing in this one. It's when Shosuke first shows up and he's, just trying to get the Shinkengers out of the way. Yep. He's fighting beside Chiaki, and then you see him go off screen and him come back and he just go, and I don't know why. It made me laugh so hard. Mm-hmm. I just was not prepared for it. It was just legitimately him. It was great. And I love the fact that at the beginning,
sometimes it's just, you just need the right framing.
Yeah. That was
the right
great
framing
one.
and an entrance can be all you need.
And Chiaki was like, what? But he and Taku do not get along. And it's also because Taku...
I wonder why.
It's just like, you're an idiot. And an amateur.
Because they are two very different kinds of anime protagonists.
Yeah. He just did not like
Broody, mopey man, and loud man.
It's true.
Fighter of the quiet man.
But we end up over this episode that we see all the multiple worlds and everything. Christmas world. I love the fact that it was Genta and Mako together because we don't really end up getting to see them together a lot.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting dynamic, especially because they're teamed up with the Go On Wings. Everybody else is paired up. I love Ryunosuke is paired up with Yellow and Green, and they're in Junk World. Ryunosuke ends up being probably the funniest person in this entire team up. Just because he's so over the top and done with it.
Like the rest of us?
No, he was just tired.
That's him in a lot of the show.
Yeah.
Truth.
This is a extreme truth. Episode 40 through 43. This is like the end of Akamaru. Because Juzo was getting extremely just tired of him not getting his sword back. So
everyone else is just tired of him in general because of all of his treachery.
Dayu would not...
Treachery?
Dayu was tired of him not fixing her shamisen. So, and Dokoku was actually upset that she wasn't there playing it. Yeah. And Cthulhu and some...
Those little fuzzballs were trying to mimic the sounds and he got all pissed.
Yeah. Cthulhu was just like, Akamaru was just like, it's really odd that you have these emotions of sort of missing her when that's much more of a human thing. I thought that was just interesting. They don't really go anywhere with it, which I'm a little bit sad about.
No, he pretty much just responds with grrrr.
Yeah.
And then we don't bring it up again.
Over the next couple episodes, Juzo, Akamaru was the one who gave Juzo that sword because he struck down his wife. His wife's soul is actually trapped in Urumasa. And Juzo, at least in Akamaru's plan, he's like building these little portals to hell. That happened over the span of like the last couple episodes in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And these portals to hell have a central point that he wants Juzo to let go of her soul and all the lamentation and everything that is in the sword to open up a portal to hell. Akamaru's whole plan is to do this, and he can't get there because Gadoshi don't go there. Only humans can. Mm-hmm. And he wants to see what it's like. That was his whole plan. I love it because he gets obsessed with it. And it's creepy. Mm. But it's also just interesting. Yeah. I like that was his whole plot. But Juzo doesn't care that his wife's soul is trapped in there. He says he's new. And I love the Shinkenger's reaction to this, like, what kind of monster are you?
Yes.
And he's like, this kind of monster. And he slashes Akamaru, kills him the first time. Well, that basically was setting up for him to be killed. Yeah. They end up growing and, end up having the big battle, and Akamaru was killed in this one. Yay. But Juzo is basically just transformed into a full Gadoshu in this episode. Yep. And it is a great couple of scenes.
Yeah.
This show...
It's like, how would you say that? What kind of monster are you? Hold my beer. Moving on.
Yeah. And they also end up beating Akamaru with Kyoryu Samurai Hao in the actual series. Yeah. It's very, very interesting the way they ended up doing this.
Yeah.
Shinkenger Returns takes place here. Because it was the plot of Ayakashi, who basically is transporting them into this other world.
Yep.
And it is a hilarious special.
Yeah.
I remember the first time we watched it.
We about died.
The high school scene, the police one.
It was more just the moment where they're just ripping off fucking Orin High School Host Club.
Amongst other things,
yes. Then it ends with them transforming, and each of their helmets has an addition to it of some sort. Like, red has a lion mane. It's something stupid.
Yeah. It's all stupid, but it's a good, fun little special.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. I think it's great.
Right up there with Shinken Brown.
Yeah, I think it's above that. Episode
right up there.
44. This is where what was mentioned earlier ends up coming in, because the special Kuroko ends up coming in. And delivers a message to Ji and Takaru. This is also the New Year's episode. But this episode is called the 18th Head of the Shiba House. Let's go back and take a look at this one, because Takaru is what they call a Kagemusha. He's a shadow. Mm-hmm. And he was basically he was trained in Mojikara, but he didn't have the specific fire Mojikara that the Shiba clan family does. Mm-hmm. But he's proficient enough in Mojikara to be able to train and actually get it later on. The father, by the way, is played by Mega Blue.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We actually met Mako's parents earlier, like both of them. Yeah. The previous Shinken Pink. Her mother, the previous Shinken Pink, is played by Miki from Geki Ranger.
Oh, cool.
And her dad is played by the head of Sato from Kamen Rider Build. The Prime Minister of Sato is her dad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I thought that was just interesting to point out. It's also good to see Miki again. Looking the exact same, because it's only been 2 years. But in episode 44, we find out that Takaru was basically a liar.
He's not the head of the Shiba household.
And the whole thing, they were supposed to be doing the sealing character on Dokuku to try to seal him away again. And they wondered because we saw Dokuku previously when he actually came up to the world to get Dayu and fix her Shannon at the same time. And walk through the Shinkengers while he's drying out. He destroyed them.
He really did.
He just legitimately destroyed
them.
Yeah.
So the entire purpose of putting him in the head is that she can be a secret from all the bad guys. They don't know she exists, so she can secretly train to seal Dokuku. But then she reveals herself to the Shinkengers.
Yes. After Takaru was injured by a monster who was supposed to be burning away the fire of the Shiba clan head, that does not work out. And he doesn't die, and she comes in and helps destroy the monster.
As the first female red.
Yes! Mm-hmm. Hime Shinken Red, our first female red. There's no real changes to the regular Shinken Red suit, but it's more like yellows and pinks because it has a skirt on it. Mm-hmm. The actress is also 14, but she's supposed to be 17 in this. Interesting.
You really can't tell.
Yeah, at all. But she is very stoic.
Yes.
That's like her
She's
characterization.
kind of like how he started at the beginning of the show.
Yes.
Which shows how much these 5 retainers have had an effect on him.
And it actually was mentioned earlier because Juzo said last time they fought, you actually have something to live for now. You're weaker. And that is leading to this whole thing where Takeru always been trying to kill himself, trying to beat Juzo. And Maka was, of course, the one just like, you need to calm the hell down. But yeah, we end up getting to learn that Kaoru Shiba is the actual head of the Shiba house. And it's very interesting to actually have this dynamic end up being changed because the others feel a little bit betrayed, but they actually miss fighting with Takeru a lot more.
Because they've had time to build a rapport, essentially, too.
Yeah.
The whole 40-plus episodes.
Yeah, for God's sake. You can't just introduce a new leader and everyone expect to just fall in line. A relationship has been built.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be the same.
And Genta actually refused to fight with her.
Yeah.
Which says something about him.
Which makes a lot more sense with him.
Yeah, and Chanba, who was like her retainer, who was annoying as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the annoying character for him.
Hated him. He was just an ass.
Mm.
But yeah. So her whole thing is the next time Dokuku ends up coming up, she's going to try to fight, put the ceiling character on him.
Mm-hmm. How'd that go?
I love the fact that they do end up warming up to her as time goes along. They're more willing to fight with her. And of course, this is leading to Takeru and Juzo's final battle, which is very cool to watch because they're fighting in this forest and like leaves and everything are just falling around them.
Mm-hmm.
And the fight is once again choreographed extremely well. And Juzo's just like, I'm a full Godoshu now. And G is a lot more worried about Takeru because the way that Takeru was fighting, he felt like he had nothing to fight for anymore. He didn't know what life to lead because he's just a shadow. His place has been taken over as it should have been at some point. And he just goes and wanders off for quite some time. It's interesting, this whole portion of it. And I love the way that the drama is done.
Mm-hmm.
This cast does a very good job of portraying emotion.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing that just made this so
Which is
fun.
something we will sorely miss in the Power Ranger.
You have
No,
idea.
I won't.
No idea.
I won't.
But yeah, over the next couple episodes, just basically them and the Dokukuins are coming in. She tries the ceiling character on him.
Uh-huh.
How'd that go?
But prior to that, he actually absorbed Dayu after Shinken Pink slashed her in half along with shamisen. Her shamisen had so much lamentation and just pain and worry and all the negative emotions
negative emotions.
that it overflowed the Sanzu River. Which was
kind of their plan all along.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a dick plan.
Yeah. And because of this, she was basically cut in half by Shinken Pink, so Dokuku ends up absorbing her, which she still had her human part inside of her. And when the ceiling character is used on him, it doesn't work because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oops.
Wah, wah.
Takeru and Juzo are still having their final battle, and then it goes to the night, a giant ring of fire ends up coming up.
I fell into
Thank you.
a burning ring of copyright.
And Chiaki, Mako, and Kotaha try to go and help him while Genta's helping Kaoru fight off the monster that week.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke, as you said, is very stringent to the rules.
Yes.
And he's torn between,
He is a man who lives every day to the same schedule at the same second, as explored shortly after Shinken Gold was introduced.
Yeah.
He gets up at like 6 a.m. every day to trains and then does all this other shit and then goes to bed at the same time, eats at the same time. He is a stickler for the fucking rules.
And in this one, he's like, his bond with Takeru and the others versus his duty as a samurai.
Mm-hmm.
And I love like how much struggle he actually has going on through that.
Yeah.
This is something that we're also going to bring up in the comparison, but Takeru is the one that cuts Juzo down,
Mm-hmm.
and the others can't get into that ring of fire just because it's so intense. And none of their powers would have worked.
Mm-hmm.
Except maybe Kota's. But Ryunosuke ends up coming in and like slashes down
With
the firewall. And it's just like, all right.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. So they all end up going back. Kaoru is like super injured at this point. There's this gigantic fight scene where they're fighting a whole bunch of the Nashirenchu. And Kaoru's over there trying to get the sealing symbol, all that ready. Takuru's fighting untransformed, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. And Juzo ends up coming in. He's on the ship because the river has finally overflowed. Tries the sealing symbol, doesn't work. There's just a white patch on him now. So they end up trying to attack that. After Takeru decides really the only way that they're going to end up beating him is brute force.
Just to, beat DBZ abridged, or not, just hit it really, really hard.
And that was the plan.
And it works. But there's one thing about this show that we have not gone over yet, which at this point is kind of at its pinnacle. That roll call.
The roll call is glorious. I love it.
You're talking about the out-of-suit one?
And just in general.
Just in general, but the out-of-suit one's great too.
The out-of-suit one is great, but the Shinkenger has one of the better roll calls. It's one of the only Sentais where they say their actual name in the roll call.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool.
And the fact that it always has that build-up of
Shinkenredo, Shiba, Takeru, Onai Shiburu, Ikenami Ryunosuke. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Also, I love the fact that it's just the same
every time
color.
Yeah.
It's just like they defer to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that is great.
Oh, yeah. They always defer to him. That is actually very well written.
So, Kaoru ends up adopting Takeru into the family.
Which makes him the 19th head of the Shiba clan? Which is the most hysterical fucking workaround for this.
Yeah. Even though he's he's older than her.
Yeah.
And so Tanba ends up giving them, after they lose to Dokuku initially, after trying to fight that weak point, it doesn't work. He just is walking through them. So I love Dokuku, by the way. Yeah, I think he's a great villain. But I love him at the end of this because he's just like, after he beats them, I'm going to let you all sit here and I'm going to go take the 18th head, bring it back, show it in front of you, and then kill you. I sit here like, damn. That's how you gonna go out, though?
Mm-hmm. So bring your head and place it on his beard.
Basically. And then, he goes and tries to do that. The Shinkengers that are running into Tanba, after they were given a Shiba clan disc earlier, it broke. And so they end up getting another one. And Tanba also ends up giving them the duplicate, disc, which Takeru ends up using on the Rekadaizanto and makes two of them and beats the shit out of Dokuku.
Which is so cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's two gigantic ass swords.
Two nightmares.
Swinging around.
Two soul edges. Yeah.
And it's great. They end up beating Dokuku. Mm-hmm. And he ends up growing, and the only way that they were able to beat him is going from Zen to the original Shinkano, because he just keeps blasting off the origami off of them. And they finally end up beating him by just using the regular finisher. I love the ending of the show.
Mainly because when using the original mech makes sense. Also, I found
in context, cool. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, in context.
And then at the end of it, they just all end up going their separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
And Takeru was just like, you know what, there's really nothing else to do right now. Let's go ahead and see what else I can do with my life. Cthulhu, however, is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
He is saved for next time.
Yep.
Also, I forgot to mention, in the team-up, this is the first time in the Sentai, because it's happened during the same year as Kamen Rider, where we end up getting the next one shows up.
Right.
The Ghost Sages show up.
Ghost Sages show up.
And the Goanger Shinkenger team-up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say more on their suits next time. I still don't like the lips.
No, you don't. You never do. No.
So then we move on to characters.
Characters. Takeru.
One of the best Reds in Sentai history.
Yeah, he's alright.
I think he's great.
That's kind of how I feel about all these people.
I think he's great.
I think he's great. It's like it's nice to have a serious Red who the point is to make him less serious, not the other way around.
I would say coming off of Go Under, it is nice to have a serious Red.
Yes, it is. Extremely so.
It's nice to have a Red,
or at least a Red who takes things seriously.
Yeah. And it's the job of the other ones to kind of loosen him up a bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love just him as a character. It was great to see his growth and having to go through the whole thing, and just that he was just a shadow of the actual Shiba head, and then having to come back to really losing his way and
Do you ever
getting his
think
team
he
back
ever
together.
called? Do you ever think afterwards he ever calls her Okasan?
I hope he doesn't. That would just be weird.
Yeah.
But he is just a great character. It's great to see growth in a character like this.
Seriously.
Blue. Ryunosuke was actually at the top of our blues list.
Mm-hmm.
And I still stand by that. He's
Yeah.
such a fun character. He's so serious, but because he's so serious, when something goes in a slightly different way, he just super overreacts and ends up being hilarious.
How the heck did he get to the top of our blues list?
I think he's great.
I don't remember this at all.
He really...
I don't think he should be like at the top, but in the
he
top.
was.
Ugh. Okay.
He was number one. He was number one.
No.
But I love Ryunosuke. I think he... Especially because the
There
rest
was
of the
one
cast...
really funny moment with him that I really liked. It was when the monster that makes everyone depressed shows up. All the people around are depressed, and Green goes, "Oh my god, they're all Ryunosuke." And he's like, "What? What's that mean?"
And in the Go Wander team, he ends up going to Junk World and nobody else is around. Then Yellow and Green are coming up and he looks at us like,
That's him in pretty much the entire show.
I love it. He's so great. And
Or the episode where Green gets switched around with the monster that takes his place. And at the end, he's like, "Hit me! Hit me! I won't feel better until you hit me."
he always goes overboard with his own punishments. Like in one of the earlier ones where he ends up having to stand under a waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody just look at him and they just walk away.
He's like, "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do." "All right, fine, bye."
It's great. I love Ryunosuke. Especially because he's in this cast.
Yeah.
I think that makes him just work that much better.
I think this was the group that he had to be in.
Yeah.
This cast has good balance.
It really does.
Speaking of balance, Mako. The big sister of the group.
She was kind of the motherly figure of the group.
And I loved her for it.
Yeah, if only she could cook.
Yeah, that's the one thing she really can't do.
I'm going to make some potatoes real quick.
But yeah, she really holds that team together. And she is the one who Takaru really confides in the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that he had her as that figure for him. I liked her whole thing with Dayu. She's just a really interesting character to have, especially amongst this group where they have so many, like, two younger people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's great. I love Maka. She's one of my favorite pinks.
Did she make her top pink list?
She did.
She was on there.
Yeah.
Next.
Good.
She wasn't number one, but she was on there.
Yeah. Tani Chiaki.
He
had a lot of growth.
He had a lot of growth, but again, we're talking about balance. He was the
brash.
The bratty younger brother.
The bratty younger brother. I was also going to say he was the most inexperienced in terms of fighting.
Yeah.
So he had the novice. Thank you. I couldn't remember that word for the life of me.
Okay.
So he had the most to learn, so we saw the most growth in his fighting style.
Especially
Like that one episode with, I think it was a tree monster or root monster, so he had to practice running because he knew at a time.
Oh, it was the monster whose hands could go through the ground.
Yeah. So he had to, so you watch him practice just charging at him to avoid the hands.
Yeah.
You see those moments, and I really liked it.
And he had a very one-sided rivalry with Takaru at the very beginning because he saw him as a goal.
Yeah.
And I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
It gave him something to strive for. And after a little bit, he's just like, I can never be as good as him, but I can be as good as I can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that about him. Kotoha. She had confidence issues.
She had confidence
Some
issues.
major confidence
Not to
issues.
mention, she was the one person who could relate to Takadu the most.
Yeah.
Of being a shadow, being the one, not being the true person who should be in the Shinkenjus. So those two had that kind of bond going.
Yeah. And of course, we don't end up finding that out until later, but her confidence got boosted because she is actually very good at martial arts. They showed this earlier, and I think her very first focus episode. She's really good at martial arts, but she's really bad at most of the things because she's clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
And
bit of a paradox there.
Yeah. But
she can fight, she just really can't do much else.
She got a lot better as the show went on. Her confidence grew. She really started to bond with everybody, especially Mako, like most everybody in the show, and Chiaki. But I love that about her. Her growth is so good to watch. Seeing somebody go from basically depressed at the very beginning of the show to being able to just go out and be as strong as they are, it's great. Kotoha is amazing.
Then we move on to
Genta. I love him. He just makes me laugh.
He's the red that we did not want in this show.
No, he's the one that we actually needed because everybody else is pretty damn serious. He was the comic relief. And I think he does it really well because it's not overly done like some other people. It's not like
he had to be funny in order to do that.
It's not. I think he's hilarious, but it's not always.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: if he's the comic relief, why did he invent a new comic relief?
Because he got more serious as the show went on. But Daigyu wasn't always there for comic relief. Yeah, Daigyu wasn't always there for comic relief. He's mostly there just as a helper. And
hanging from the fucking cart, real helpful.
Yeah, he's a lantern.
That's what lanterns do.
Yeah,
they light up things and they hang from things.
Need it. You know what else works? A lantern that doesn't talk.
You know what else works? New toys.
That also works.
Yeah.
But I like Genta. Genta just makes me laugh. And he's a great character. He does most of the Mojikara stuff they actually have to do in the background. He does that himself. Mm-hmm. And he's very tech savvy. So he's the one who ends up making the Inromaru and figuring out the ways that everything combined later on. After it's either him or Ryunosuke. But I love it. I love him. I think he's really
I'm not saying he wasn't needed. I'm just saying his character could have been a little different. But I understand your points.
We actually do have to talk about Kaoru here. She's very serious.
Super duper serial.
But that's the way that she was brought up.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
She was literally raised, you have to save the world, take this shit seriously.
Yeah. That's her. And I love that about her. She's very interesting just because she's very, as you said, very similar to Takuru at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And she warms up a little bit later. This is something that we'll actually talk about more in the in comparison.
Yes.
Shinkenger is a great show.
It is a very, very, very
I was
show.
upset when I finished it. I
was not.
I was here like, I want to watch it again. But I thought it was a great...
But more.
Basically. Yeah, Shinkenger is, one of my all-time favorite Sentai. For good reason. This show...
I know it's your favorite.
I'm biased, though.
It's a great show. And it treats everybody...
I thought the show was good.
It treats everybody equally. Everybody gets their own time to shine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's
Which you don't see that a lot in Sentai.
Especially when you end up getting something that you could really make this show red-focused.
Yep.
But they don't do it all the time. Everybody else has their own trials and tribulations to go through without the rest of it. I love this show. I give it a 9 out of 10.
Man, we don't do that anymore.
I know. 9 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Because Mex and I didn't like the comic relief. But it's still my favorite. But I had the bias of loving katanas and samurais. So there's that. Yeah, this is going to be a thing now.
But yeah, next time it'll just be Jacob and I. Because we're doing one of the... Well, basically...
We're doing several Ultraman movies.
Yes, 4 of them. X, Orbs, and Geeds. And the Saga.
And the Saga.
Yeah. That'll be...
And I'm excited for that.
Yeah. It's a good short one. So I've been wanting to watch some things. Like Voltron. But yeah, let us know what you think about Shinkenger in the comments below. There actually are some Facebook comments that I'm going to read off really quickly as I go ahead and get our page up because I should have done this prior. But nope, I'm not that smart. Mitch Mott. The show is great. In my mind, the top Sentai. Great characters and a great story. Good villain as well. Dokoku was great. I love, even though he didn't really come up that much, he was always threatening.
Yep.
Always threatening. He never had a headache. Scott Scarlett Kluger. Shinkenger is easily one of my favorite Sentai of all time. It really captures the feel of a modern-day period drama. There was nary a dull moment. Every single member of the team was well developed, and no character feels neglected, which is a rarity for modern Sentai.
Jason Sasser. Hopefully Marcus can cook better than Shinkenger.
I do so much better.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
I can vouch for that.
We can both vouch for that.
EJ Montes. Shinkenger was a very good series. Not a favorite of mine, but still the solid series. Had issues with the plot line. That freaking Megazord. Everybody did. That Megazord was terrible. Eric Dolette. He's top 10 favorite Sentai show. This is on his list. J-Boss. I love Shinkenger. It's my favorite. John Love is better than Power Rangers Super Samurai. Most things are.
Yeah. Cardboard.
But yeah, this is just a great show. Let us know what you think about it in the comments below. Don't forget to pick up a patron.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, go ahead and like our page. Twitter,
Instagram. We have Instagram now.
Instagram, and join us.
What's on it?
A picture of Guy.
He'll be doing that later.
Hopefully more stuff.
Yeah. But I'm still trying to figure out how to, use Instagram and everything.
By the time this ends up coming out, Because this is already over an hour, and we do plan on getting started at 11 a.m. Tomorrow. Tomorrow's recording this, but an hour from now, as we're doing this, tomorrow we'll be having a stream.
2 hours from now is the time of when this is uploaded. But anyway, yeah, we're doing the stream very soon. If you're watching this as soon as this comes out,
we'll be playing Trivial Pursuit.
Yay!
On the YouTube, you'll probably get a notification if you've rung that bell.
It'll be the three of us and also Sam from Nerd and Isle.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time.
It'll be a very good time. And don't forget, we're streaming next weekend too on Saturday the 8th.
Saturday the 8th.
At what, 10 a.m.?
11.
11? We're doing 11 because I thought you had to go somewhere.
I gotta go somewhere tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So, at 11 a.m. for a suicide awareness, please show up. But, is there anything else we need to talk about?
No, just don't forget to join us in 2 weeks for the Ultraman movie reviews.
And we'll see you guys the next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.